Just ahead on The Perspective with Mike Sherbino and Julie Stautland. Today, it's all about improv. Get ready for some comedy shenanigans with Leland Klassen Dan Dan Macaulay. It's not yet Christmas, but they're on tour now with their show just in time for some pre-Christmas entertainment.
I'll do the bottom, you do the middle, you do the head. Let's go, it's already melting, let's hurry up!
Mommy, can we iron Grandma's face?
Leland and Dan call it a healthy mix of stand-up, carols, improv, and laughter all the way. Over to you, Mike and Julie, for some pre-Christmas joy.
Hey, we're glad you're with us today on The Perspective. And I don't know, we've never done anything quite like this, but we thought we'd kick off the Christmas season by bringing you a little bit of hope and peace and joy and Leland. So welcome, Leland.
Thanks for having me. I didn't know we were, I thought you guys were bringing me in to bring some hard-hitting, like, news kind of stuff.
No,
That's what I was preparing for.
Oh, you're prepared? Did you research for that?
No, I didn't.
Did
I
you read
still
the
didn't do any more
newspaper?
research, but I was going to wing it.
You were going to wing it.
You're gonna wait. So, but you're on tour, you're doing a little improv, you're doing a Christmas show, Laughing All the Way. Tell us about that.
Well, it's me and Dan Macaulay, and he's a musician / funny guy as well.
Okay.
In the van on the tour, he's probably funnier than I am.
How would you classify me?
You could be on the tour.
Could I?
You know he wanted to be a late show host.
I know.
So we're all...
I know. Trust me. He's been telling me jokes all morning long. So, yes. Listen. Let's make it happen. Let's do it.
I'm really glad you actually took the time to stop in and be with us.
Yeah.
Speaking of the time, cable guy was in my neighborhood this morning, and he actually said to me, "Do you have the time?" I said, "Somewhere between 8 and 1 o'clock." That's my best joke.
Oh my
nice.
goodness,
All
here
right.
we go.
Here we go. Okay, where do we go next?
Really? Is that okay?
We're done the show?
That's it. That's all we got.
But listen, so how many dates do you have right now? You're going across starting, when did you start, when you finish?
It starts November 20-something. I'm not good with the number. I didn't do any research, not even on my own tour. It starts the last weekend of November and it goes through till like the mid-December, and we're all over Canada.
No, this isn't your first year doing this. How long have you
Dan
been
and I
doing
used to tour this all the time, and then we took a little break. Something happened in the world.
I know.
So we said, let's just stop doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Like
And
for
this-
2 years, right?
For about 2.5 years, yeah. And so we're back, doing the Christmas tour together in Canada. And I honestly, this is the first time I've been in Ontario in like 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't really like it.
Maybe you came in a couple times, you didn't have a mask, or we had a mask and we didn't recognize you.
They wouldn't let me in. I wasn't wearing a mask.
So, like, how would we recognize you if you had the mask on?
You know what? I've always wanted to be a ninja. So that's what I like the most
Really?
about
Was that your first
the
career
lockdowns.
choice?
Yeah, if I could have been a ninja. That's the problem. Actually, that's what I'm finding. That was the problem during a lot of the masking. Was you never know who's a ninja and who's not.
No,
Like, who's the
that's
real
good.
ninja.
You know, this is something
Well,
to
we
consider,
can
right?
protect your identity on the
Yeah.
program. Just stand up for a second, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, watch what's going to happen.
What's going to happen? Oh, there I am. Hi.
All right, so here we are.
There
Let's
we
go.
are.
All right, sit down.
I can hover. You know what? Look at this. Does it not look like this is somebody else's legs? Oh my! Look at this monitor. It looks like somebody else. Looks like two different screens.
You know, when we
So
get
weird.
desperate
My body
like
is
this
so
and the
weird.
show is on,
Look at
I
this.
got some Christmas lifesavers.
You do?
Yeah.
Some lifesavers?
A lifesaver.
Okay.
There's a green and 2 red, so you can have one.
Yeah, I have to
Because
have
I
red.
think the ship is sinking right now. It's going
Did you
down.
prepare that? Did you prepare
Well,
that?
you know what? These things come to me in the middle of the night.
I did want to ask you about
Yes.
these mugs. Now, do
Yeah,
I
they
get to-
match, 3 of them.
Do I get to take this home?
Well,
I don't know about that. They're
They're
pretty
from
precious.
the dollar store, right?
Oh, they're from the dollar store.
Yeah, because we're trying to invest in that.
Yes.
And that's why
Okay.
we couldn't afford the writing, the perspective on the
it's just
outside.
Same on the other
But we're going to
I
let
had
a
a
secret
friend-
out of the bag.
Okay, go ahead.
Julie never drinks water.
No.
And every once in a while, I take a sip on it. So if I did that, it'd be all over.
It's the sitcoms, right? The sitcoms they have, and they never drink, or they do like a.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how physics work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was going to say this. I had a friend who actually, you're talking about the dollar store. He actually he owned, like he had a chain of them, and
Okay.
this is like in Indiana, and so he was. So I try not to. He was a good businessman.
You don't want to
Yeah,
take shots at the
exactly.
dollar store.
Yeah, but they did have a tornado run through, and it
yeah.
actually wiped out his entire store.
Oh,
Like
man.
tens of dollars worth of damage.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think
I gotta ask you. So we talk about you being a ninja, and that the first career choice. Your second career choice. Did it happen to be a comedian? How did this start? Where did this craziness birth?
Yeah, well,
who said he was a comedian?
That's right. That's right.
Who started that rumor?
Oh my goodness.
I will say this though. I did
Okay.
become
One of
a
the
comedian.
programmers is closing his eyes,
I
saying
know,
it
right?
can't get any worse.
I don't know. I think this is a good. We're having a good time.
Yes.
It's
But how
just
did
because
this
it's not on
start?
a prompter.
This kind of
somebody
reminds
put
me
you
of
on
the old
spot in
Johnny
school?
Carson. Who was the other guy that followed? Jay Leno?
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't he? I don't want to bring it up,
No.
but I think Leno. Something happened to Leno. Didn't he get
I don't
caught on fire or something? Seriously.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what,
I wanted to say because you asked the question. I want to answer her question.
Yes.
please.
How did you start?
I
out?
started. It wasn't until after I got married that I actually started doing it.
So your wife said you're funny. You should do this as a career. How did it happen?
No, she's never said that. Even 25 years in now, she's just like, "Have you seen the want ads? Do you want to have a look?" No, I just had all this material.
Wait,
So
and
I
this
was
is
like,
my
I might
next
as well
question.
use it.
Where did you get the material? Did you say, honey, you're just so funny? Or was it a friend, or was it?
You know what's bothering me lately is that all I'm doing right now, there's some of my best material is just me repeating what my wife said. So I did the movie Extraordinary.
Can you say that on TV? Is that allowed? Will she get mad at you?
She's not as funny as. Let me just say this. I was doing the movie Extraordinary.
Okay.
In it, there's a kissing scene.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm the lead. I got a kiss, and so I brought it up to her. I was like,
Okay.
"Honey, this kissing scene. This is gonna be kissing," and I was really disappointed in her reaction because she was like, "Yeah, I don't care." And I was like, "Well, you should care a little." So then I pressed her on it, and I was like, "But just so you know, this could take several takes to get it right." And she was like, "Probably," and that is what I'm talking about. That hurts, and not only is she being funnier than me, but it's also hurtful.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
No,
That's
really,
funny.
you guys have a great relationship. You're out in a place called
That's the
Abbotsford.
pastor in you. You gotta clarify for the audience. You have to have a great relationship. We're not saying. Yeah, we live out in Abbotsford.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
punishment. I've worked in that area before.
Yeah,
Yeah. You remember where the big floods were? In Abbotsford,
Yes.
remember? A year ago?
yeah. I live there.
What?
So I have a video. If you could pull up this
I
video,
pastored
it's
a
too late to
church
do this.
halfway up that hill. And you know the Tim Hortons at Watcombe Road and the
Yep.
Trans-Canada?
I live
That
on
was my
Whatcom Road.
second office. That was my second office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually live on Whatcom Road, and here's a true story. The RV place it caught on fire because it's some.
I remember reading about that.
And I'm sitting there looking. It was the end of the world because I'm like, everything's gonna be okay. God's got us. And then I look over at this flood, and it's on fire. I'm like, how's that even possible? We're flooded and it's on fire. I thought the world was coming to an end.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
Just before we go to
think
the break, we're going to meet
Yeah.
your buddy Dan.
Yeah.
You do humor. It brings a lot of hope to people. It kind of changes the gears a little bit. We enter into the Christmas
does.
season. Why don't you be profound for 90 seconds?
90 seconds. You want me to?
Okay, 75.
Okay, perfect. No, listen. I really do believe that when we do like a tour, like Dan and I do, comedy. Every pastor that brings me in has to say, because to make it okay for me to be there for their board, they quote Proverbs 17:22. Laughter's good like medicine. But it really is.
It really is.
It really does. I do believe that God uses me in kind of a healing ministry. People laugh, and God can heal them. Through those kinds of things, just laughing together and in that joy. Of course, we're not talking about joy, we're talking about hope. But it's that hope that
We can squeeze it in.
Can we? I don't want to mess up your
No,
advent,
that's okay.
your
The
candles.
calendar. Just as long as I get the little chocolates in the window, you know.
I'm
for the
on my
25
third
days.
advent calendar. Is that normal?
My goodness.
It's delicious.
Oh,
We're
my
glad you're with
goodness.
us on The Perspective today. Our hope is that we will have fun. And maybe in the next interview, I'll finally
Yeah.
start. But anyways, we're here with Leland Klassen. Klassen.
Whatever you
Whatever
want
it
to
is.
do. We'll fix it in post.
And he is on tour. And you need to reach out to him. What's the website again? You got to.
ChristmasLaughs.today. And then, by the way, it's laughs,
Laughs.
not laugh.
Right.
Julie, laugh.
Okay.
But it's
Well-
it's plural.
I'm going to get the last laugh in right now. We're going to be right back after a short break.
Cram full of fa-la-las and ha-ha-has, it's sure to be the most fun you've ever had at a Christmas show.
Mission accomplished.
And your neighbors will love it too.
I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day.
Join us for chuckles and cackles, carols and crooning, bellows and belly laughs to boot. And in the snorting and sing-along, the giggling will bring along more joy than a red Santa suit.
Is this gonna be a pattern? So? Figured it out now.
Hey, we're back in the perspective with you today, and I'm here with Leland Klassen, and you got your sidekick, Dan, with us. So who's Dan?
Dan is a multi-talented. He's the brains and the brawn of the tour. the brawn. He does all the lifting and all the thinking.
Oh my
So, like,
goodness.
does he write your jokes or what?
He's actually he helps me. Once we get on a roll,
Could you help, Dan, could you help him more, please?
Yeah. You can tell I didn't have him this morning. I wasn't as sharp.
I'm
But
sorry,
listen,
I wasn't there to hold up cue cards for him. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Dan, what do you do within the show Laughing All the Way, and how do you work off of Leland's improv?
Well, the improv never stops. Let me tell you, we have a lot of miles of driving in between all these stops, and it's just constant improv in the car all the time. So, and I like to try and join in on the mix. He inspires me a little bit. So,
A little, just
my
a
job
little.
on the tour.
Dan, be
What's
honest
that?
about that van. Be honest about the van. What's really going on in that van? It's boy bands, 90s boy band songs. We sing.
Yep. You know that scene on Tommy Boy where they're singing together and crying and laugh. That's us on
us.
tour.
I wanted
Yes.
to tour with you guys, but now that I hear you travel in a van, count me out. I mean, as good as my material is, I'm not going to share it with
You're
you
not gonna
guys.
do a van.
Oh my goodness.
So my role on the tour is to add a little bit of I'm the Christmas carols part of the comedy and carols, and so we get the crowd singing. We sing Christmas. We'll do a big montage of all of your favorite carols in one big thing, and then a few other musical things, a couple musical surprises in there. Over the years of touring with Leland, I learned a few things about how to be funny, so it's helped a little bit.
You are funny. I was telling them earlier. You're funnier than me in the van. So
In
Okay,
the van,
so
maybe.
Dan, you're the singer. You've actually been a worship pastor. You've done a number of other gigs, and you got an amazing talent. I can't say the same for Leland, but that's a whole separate thing. We just said we could do whatever we wanted today. I gave him my dollar store cup. He's going to take that home as a souvenir as well. But my question is, so you're the singer. Leland, do you sing as well?
yeah. I mean, everybody sings. I don't know if I sing well.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Whatever.
how, do you sing well? Like, can you give us a few bars?
No, I'm not giving bars. You got to come to the show.
So
But
Dan,
we actually do a duet together in the show. We open the show with like a Christmas parody kind of duet, and Leland sings on that, and he does well.
Oh,
Thank you, Dan.
is that a serious song that you're doing, or is it?
No, not at all. It's the opposite of serious.
so
I thought. Wait a minute. I thought
is
it
why
was
it works.
serious. I thought it was serious.
Oh.
I gave my all on that.
It's not serious for me.
In all seriousness, the program. Why do you do it? Apart from making a little bit of money on the side, what drives you to entertain people? What are you thinking about?
Who are we asking? Are we asking
Dan.
me?
Yeah. Well, see, Dan.
Sure, yeah,
let me just preface it with this, Dan, real quick.
Yeah.
You're a worship leader. That's your heart in ministry. Maybe I should have told him that. But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of go from there, Dan. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, that is my first and foremost love. There's something special about Christmas, though. I think that this show really works as an outreach, and we always encourage people, invite your neighbors, because not only statistically will neighbors be more willing to come to anything in a church in Christmas time, at the show it really works for everybody, because things like Christmas carols, they're not some churchy song that people haven't heard before, but people can sing, and the types of jokes and comedy that Leland does, it's everyone gets it, and we do a lot of things that are like that. But then we do, by the end, make sure there's some gospel message woven in really well. Leland actually does a really good job of that, of taking his comedy towards the end and turning it towards making sure the gospel's in there. So it's really, entry level. We like call it like what's the word I was trying to think of? Like it's like entertainment, but it's
Edutainment?
Edutainment, sure. Yeah.
No, that sounds too PBS.
Not really the word I was thinking of, but it's not coming to me. So, but we mix the two. So that's the thing that I really like about it. It's the warm fuzzies of Christmas. It's palatable for everyone, and the gospel message is woven in. So it's a great tool, I think, for the church. And I'm all about, helping build the church. Worship is the way I do it the rest of the year, but at Christmas, it's really, I'm proud of the tour.
It's a good pre-evangelistic tool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so let me just
pre-evangelistic, that'll work.
Yeah.
Let me just ask this question, because we have all sorts of people watching. They don't even know what the word evangelistic means. But that really is the good news. So when you talk about the gospel, I listen to people who are funny and it's entertaining. And I enjoy a good laugh as much as anybody. But talk to me about what the gospel is. Maybe, Leland, when you're thinking in your mind of the good news, what comes to mind, and what do you want people to know?
Yeah, well, and Dan mentioned it, in the show. I kind of wrap up talking about the gospel, and it is really an easy, when you're talking about Christmas, because people are already there, that they're okay talking about Christmas. They know what it's about. So then to make that transition into, this is what Jesus was doing. He came as a baby. He's fully man, fully God, and this was part of God's plan. And so, yeah, to me, being able to share the gospel, being able to share, listen, God's got a plan for us. And we talked about hope earlier. That's really what this is. This world, especially right now, needs to know that we have hope, and it's in God's plan. Go ahead,
And
Dan.
that it's real. So, you meet them at an entry point of Christmas, which they're familiar with, and all the traditions that come in there. But, it's woven in, the story of Jesus. This isn't Jack and the Beanstalk. This is a real history. This is real. And he is a real hope for you today. This is relevant, not just some story that we, tell like Santa Claus.
Julie, you got some thoughts as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the fact that, after everything that people have gone through and are continuing to go through with COVID and everything, are you finding that people are just extra excited and happy to have an event like this at Christmas time now, that they're really looking forward to it, and that the response is seems to be more?
We're hoping so.
So how do people get tickets? How do we find you? We gave that funky website out earlier. Give it to us again, Leland.
It's Christmas laughs, plural, .today. Dan, I had a problem. They were Christmas laugh, and it's like, well, hopefully more than one.
At least two.
At
we
least
think there's
two.
at least two in there.
We think there's a
We're
plural.
working on getting a third.
Yeah, that's right.
And along with Christmas, Leland is on the road a lot. Dan, I know you're in the Buffalo area, and as we're taping this program, you're getting ready for, it's 3 feet of snow or whatever. So it's going to be Merry Christmas for you as well.
Hopefully, I'll be able to get out of here to get on tour.
Hopefully.
We got a minute left. When you think about Christmas, what's one of the funniest things that happened to you in your life? Dan, start with you first.
Oh boy,
Nothing like on the spot.
On the spot.
Funniest. Well, I don't know if it's funny, but one of my favorite Christmas memories that I always go to is when I was really little. Santa brought a crisscross crash car set. It was a figure eight, and you had a revving wheel, and you'd put the cars in, it would rev it, and the cars would shoot around and then you get a couple shooting, and eventually they'd meet up at the figure eight, middle, and they'd crash. But it was a real loud revving thing. So I don't know, I crossed over to go to the bathroom or something, and looked down and saw under the tree the crisscross crash, and went down and started playing the revving wheel and getting everything going at 3 in the morning, and woke up the whole house doing it. So
there you go.
I don't know.
Leland, what
I don't
about
think
you?
It was super funny. My parents didn't think it was funny. I know in future years they moved the tree over out of sight from the hallway so that we wouldn't, see something in the middle of the night and not be able to resist. So, yeah.
We're running out of time, but Leland, what's a memory for you?
I used to always, this is wrong, but I used to always look at my gifts ahead of time. That was part of the fun for Christmas for me, was finding out where they were kept. And even I figured out how to undo the wrapper. And one year my dad he figured it out, and he put my name on the wrong one. So I opened up like my sister's, whatever. And I was like, this is what you got me, a doll?
Yeah,
so it was traumatic.
Julie, what about you?
dear.
Your best memory for Christmas?
My best memory, I've had too many memories, but I just eating all the food, being with family, I just love it.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you mine. I know a lot of my relatives are watching in the Ottawa area, and I just want you to know that when I was 10 years old, you folks traumatized me because the one Christmas, and it's time we just tell the story. I'm a 10-year-old, and I unwrapped these presents from my aunts and uncles, and that's going to be great. I got 3 identical soap on a rope. Like, that traumatizes a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, why do I even take a shower anyway? So what are you going to do with that, Leland? That's the truth. Soap on the rope.
I remember having a soap on the rope that I got for Christmas one time, and it lasted for like several years. So I just started thinking about it now. I'm like, wait a minute,
I don't
was
know
I
if
not
you should
bathing?
tell us that.
We're sitting pretty close.
I still use it.
You should have used it.
It's very tiny
Use
now.
it a little
It's
more.
mainly just rope.
Oh dear.
Julie, get us out of here, okay?
Oh dear. Yes. Well, it's been great to have you both, Leland and Dan. Thank you so much for
What about
joining us
me?
on this
Great
crazy
to
show.
have you
And
too.
of course,
Okay.
it's your show, Mike. Thanks so much for being with us. I hope that you have a fantastic tour, and everyone remember to go to the website and check out for the tickets. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
I want to take this moment to tell you why we do the perspective. And Julie, there are 2 words going through my mind.
I know what they are.
What are they?
Hope and help.
You got it. You knocked it out of the park. Hope and help are so important. And can I just share with you as the viewing audience that we want people to experience the hope that happens when they put their trust in Jesus. I know it transformed my life. It will transform yours if it hasn't already. We also want to help people, and through the many interviews and as we teach God's Word, to help people to realize that the Lord is with us, that He is our refuge and strength. So could I ask you to help me give hope to people across our country? Why not go to the link below and donate to support the perspective, and together we can give hope and help to our country. You know, as we head into the Christmas season, I want to take time this week to talk just about what I was speaking about in that little commercial break. I want to talk about hope. Because one of the Advent themes and Advent is the whole idea of looking forward to the coming of Jesus, is that it fills us with such hope. I hope you enjoyed laughing with us, with Leland. I mean, it's hard not to be with him and not laugh. He just by nature brings it out of us. But there are so many things that squeeze the laughter, squeeze the hope out of us. And we want to unpack some of those things through the course of this week. But when I think about hope, a lot of times hope is a longing. It's a feeling that we have to be back in a place that is familiar. If you're a soldier and you were serving overseas during one of the wars, or even currently, you hope to be home. You think about it. You think about the Christmas bells, the Christmas smells, the dinner at the table, being with family and being with friends. And one of us knows how critical hope is to the meaning of life. It was Emil Brunner that once said that what hope is to life is what oxygen is to the blood. It is essential. We can go like 40 days without food, although that would be tough. We can go about 3 days without water, but we can only go about 3 seconds without hope. Hope is essential. In the New Testament, in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus tells a story that talks about someone who was looking for false hope. It's a story of 2 brothers, and it's called the prodigal son. The problem with the story is that we often just think of the prodigal son. There was the good boy who stayed at home. But interestingly, in the journey that the prodigal went on, when he said to his father, "Give me my share of the inheritance," and he takes off and he spends it on wine, women, and song. The reality is that the older brother was equally as lost. Say, where did you come up with the idea of lost? Well, the younger son, he is at a place in his journey where he had felt like he lost it all. And after he'd spent all the money, he had nothing. He was actually eating pig food from one of the farmers in order to survive. If you read the rest of the story, and we're going to get to it over the next few programs, the older brother, he gets angry when the younger son returns home. The father threw him a feast because he said, "Your brother who was lost has been found again." And he grows into a rage. He said, "I've lived a good life, I've done everything right, and you've never thrown a party for me." What the older brother didn't realize is that even though he hadn't left home, he was still lost. The key phrase in that passage, it says of the prodigal son, the wild son, is that he lost it all. Have you ever thought like maybe you've lost it all? Maybe as you're heading towards Christmas and you're pondering, just the reality of what you had hoped for, what you had wanted, and you realize that it's never coming to pass. It is true that I did get 3 soap on a ropes that Christmas, but I hadn't lost it all. Do you know why? Because just like the prodigal son, you and I have an option that as we go through life, we might feel like we lose everything. You might have lost your health, your finances, maybe someone very close to you has passed away. But what we haven't lost is a potential of a relationship with our Heavenly Father. And when our hopes are dashed, we need to realize that we still have a Father who cares for us. I picture the story of the young guy leaving and taking off and going away. And the father is perhaps looking down the road day in and day out. We're not told how long it was before the son came back, but it said he came to his senses. And as he's eating the pig food, he said, "How many people, even in my father's home, have more than enough to eat, and I have nothing?" He says, "I'm going to arise and I'm going to go to my father and say, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven and earth, and I'm not worthy to be called your son. But take me back as one of your servants.'" He knew that he hadn't lost his father, but he had no idea of the incredible love the father still had for his son. And the beautiful thing that happens in the story, and we're going to see more of it in the coming days, is that when the son comes home, the father sees him. It's almost as if the father was looking down the road, waiting. Possibly had been waiting more than weeks, maybe months. Maybe it was a half a year, but he was waiting. And when he saw his son, he did what was culturally inappropriate. When somebody had messed up, they needed to come back to the one that they had offended, really on their hands and knees. But instead, the father sees the son and he runs towards him and he embraces him and he says, "Welcome home." And suddenly the hopes that have been dashed because of the wrong choices that young man had made are being replenished. He has all sorts of things in his mind, but his dad sees his heart and he embraces him and he welcomes him home. And if there's a theme that I would love to embrace your life as we enter into this Christmas season, is that we have a Heavenly Father who cares for you, who loves you, and he's here to welcome you home. Why not open up your heart to him today and say, "Father, I want to come back to you," because he will always hear that prayer.